wife, Cherie.
This is our first time ever doing a podcast, and we are also filming it so we can add it to the YouTube channel.
We're pretty excited. We've been away for a little while. We took a hiatus. We have 3 small children, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old, and take a lot of time and energy. So this project has been put on the wayside for a little while, and we're ready to get moving with it. So today we're going to be talking about operating from the principle of love, which is probably one of my favorite subjects, and also too challenging. You know, there's something called life that happens all throughout the world. Everybody has their own little thing going on, and we're not always great at operating from the principle of love. So Shelby's going to share some stories about how she could have operated from the principle of love and maybe didn't and wish she could have. And so we're going to kind of share our experience, strength, and hope with things that we've done to try to make our life better and the world better, and hopefully raising our kids better.
But we are both human, so we have made our fair share of mistakes too, but we are learning. So I think when we talk about coming from the principle of love and where I probably could have done better, the first story that comes to mind is when we had an amazing woman in our life who was one of our great friends, and she was absolutely amazing and super supportive and great. She was in our life, and we had like this, it was when Grayson was being born, so it was a little hectic and crazy, and things didn't go exactly how we had hoped it was going to go. And after it was all said and done, we were sitting at the table and we were all talking about how Grayson was born and what all happened and what led up to that. And, it got a little heated and tense, and it was hard. And I think in the moment I wanted my wife to know that, like, we're okay. And the words I chose to use was, "It's okay, babe. We always have each other." I was trying to support her and make sure she knew we're okay, because it's true, we are okay, and we always have each other. But I didn't take into consideration how that may have made our friend feel. That doesn't include her. That totally put her on the outskirts, and that was just you and us against the world. And I didn't think about it when I first said it, but I hurt her. And I wish I would have chosen better words. Today, now I know from Dr. Jim, when I say something or I'm about to say something, I do try to think, like, is this loving? Is this kind? And sometimes I don't catch myself in time, and then I have to go back, and say apologies. But
it was a challenging situation. I think, emotions get heated. Sometimes we have expectations on how things are supposed to work out in our mind, or, and things don't always work out the way we think, and emotions get high and we make mistakes. And that was a tragic one. She was quite a light, just a joy to be around. And, she's one of those people that is kind of like a cheerleader for you all the time. And
definitely a bright light.
Yeah,
life, for
that
sure.
was a huge one. Yeah, and there's things during that situation that I said, that, at the time they were just thoughts that probably should have been kept to myself, and I thought we were close enough that I could express those, and I actually ended up hurting that individual to her core, which, that's, it's just not a good thing, You never want to really hurt somebody, and it wasn't intentional.
No, it wasn't.
But, like, when time passes, because Grayson's now 3, he's going to be 4, in December.
Yeah.
You have time to think about it and think about how you behaved and things that you wish you could have taken back, but it was a learning lesson for sure, So I think that relationships in general, are opportunities for us to learn about ourselves and each other, you know, and some relationships complete themselves. You know, nobody's tied to anybody for the rest of their life, you know. I know for a fact because I don't have my biological family in my life at all, you know. But I think that all these people that enter into your life are opportunities for you to grow.
Both sides.
On both sides, yes. You know, and I think that I've hurt people, and I think people have hurt me. It's part of love. It's part of life. It's part of going through things, and it's bizarre because it's almost like here's a section of people that were your friends, and then you complete this section, you know, and then sometimes new people with new things come in, you know, and
With a bunch more new stuff to learn.
yeah, and I know that we've changed what we actually kind of like interviewing people now. I know there's things that we require in friends now to where, you know, before it was just like, you know, whatever we can do, you know, let's hang out, let's be part of some sort of tribe, you know, like we have to exist within somebody else, you know. But having 3 small children, you start to think about what kind of people do I want in my life. And it's definitely people that have skill sets to communicate, work through things, but still that doesn't tie you to anything.
It doesn't, but I think like you don't have your family and I don't speak to most of my family, so I think when it's us 5 and then when it comes to friendships coming in, we were like diving in head first, let's go, let's try to be there, everything, and then yeah, now we can kind of take a step back and be like, wait a minute, like we are our pack.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do we want in the friends and how do we want this to go? But we had to learn that. We had to learn through it.
And it's hard when you go through a bunch of things and you feel hurt, right? You get hurt and your feelings are just, you feel like demolished, you know. It's hard to use the principle of love because now I'm operating out of fear, sometimes anger, sometimes disappointment, sometimes all these other things, you know, and you have to just recenter yourself, you know, and that's what I've learned because I felt like disheartened for a long time. And I was in a pattern just not too long ago with a lot of people, you know, friendships that we had. And they were all kind of similar, almost like I was living this lesson that had to be taught to me, you know, and I was open to learning, you know, and it's bizarre because you keep getting the same kind of relationship, just a different face and a different name, you know, until you actually see and learn what you need to learn so that you can attract something maybe a little bit different, you know. And that's what I'm realizing now because it was just like, what's happening?
And that's what I was going to say, but like that took time.
Yeah.
There's many friendships and family members or whatever that maybe it was the same type of person, but until you could really see it. But then we also started stepping back into like what we do, and it helped open our eye to everything and what we want to attract and help us come from more of a loving place in all of the relationships in our life.
Yeah. And I still have situations. I mean, come on, guys. I have situations to where something comes up and I'm like, oh, what did they say? What happened? You know, owning a business, it's crazy. I have people that work for me and do certain jobs. And even today, there's like some text messages going through and I'm like, oh my goodness. This is an opportunity for me to say something that needs to be said.
Justified anger.
Yeah, justified anger, you know, and there's that moment to where it's like, really? I don't think I need to do that right here and right now. Just because my feathers got ruffled doesn't mean that that's, you know, a moment for me to strike. Actually, I could sleep on it and then maybe find a more productive, kinder way to deal with what I need to handle at work.
But you actually handled that fairly quickly. Like, you didn't sit in like, I'm gonna blow. You were like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to feel this way, and I feel like I'm not going to be loving. So
Yeah, but I don't know.
Wait.
Have you guys ever sat there and you're arguing with somebody via text, which you guys, they didn't have text back in the day. We actually had to talk to each other.
Right.
It could be misinterpreted. You don't even know what tone somebody's talking, right? My sponsor, Lynn. You know, you don't even know how somebody's saying something, you know, or what they mean intent-wise, because you don't see their facial expressions, the tones that are coming out of their voice. There's no eye contact, you know, so it's kind of like courage behind a little keyboard over here, you know, and so I don't know how many of you have started typing something and then it's delete, 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 and then you can go paragraphs, right? So then you're sitting there deleting and deleting and deleting, you know. That is my experience often. Yeah, is that, you know, I have a hard time with somebody who's going to sit behind a keyboard trying to spread some not very kind words.
Yeah, that has happened where someone says not nice stuff, and I feel myself getting all nice and heated, like I'm going to blow. But I do believe I'm pretty good at be like, this isn't loving, this isn't kind, I shouldn't do it, you know, when I pull back. But it's hard sometimes. But it's true, texting, there's how can you tell if someone's being loving or kind? Because you can't. The emotions really aren't there.
It's always best to have a face-to-face with somebody, especially if you care about them. You know, I mean, just try to have open ears and listen to two people, because no matter what happens in any situation, two of you are experiencing something totally different at that time. You know, and the worst thing is to actually sit down and have a conversation, but you're not valid to be heard. You know, that is horrible. Like when you can't even be heard, you know, or, you know, the other person might be fidgeting, rolling their eyes, you know, treating you like you're just ridiculous. You know, that's not a good thing either, you know. So if you're trying to work something out with a friend, family member, relationship, try to have eye contact. You know, and when somebody else is talking, don't be sitting there thinking about how you're going to answer them. Listen to what they say.
I know for me, something that I had learned, you know, many years ago was I was learning how to listen. And one of the techniques was to listen to someone say something and then respond with, okay, you know, this is what I heard you say, and say what you thought you heard, because sometimes it can still, you didn't hear it right. And it gives the person another chance to be like, no, this is what I'm trying to say. So it's completely clear. In that moment, you listened, and then hopefully the other person would do the same, and then there's clear communication. But that's something that I will never forget. Like, well, this is what I heard you say, because sometimes what you hear isn't exactly what they said, and the perception's a little different.
Yeah. And just because somebody's talking to you and they're saying something, you guys, it doesn't warrant a reaction. Like, it is not, at that point, if somebody is coming in, or say if they're talking to you, or they're going under attack, pointing out all your shortcomings, things that, you know, you're not really good at, or, you know, things that have disappointed them, you know, it's okay to be like, hey, I heard you. I don't really know what to say right now. Can I sleep on it and get back to you tomorrow? What would be a good time? You know, and take it in. You know, I really need to figure out what just happened, and, you know, because we always want to be really ultra reactive, you know, or, oh, defensive. No, you said, oh, this is what you did. It doesn't get anywhere.
But to jump on that, it is important what you said, like, can I sleep on this and get back to you tomorrow? You have to give an end date of how long you're gonna like chew on this, because if you're just like, I'll get back to you, and then, you know, time gets away and the other person's just like, clearly they didn't care, they're gone, you know, they didn't want to work through it because they're gone now. time gets away because you didn't give an end date. Look, I need like a week to just kind of figure this out. I'll get back to you. Give it a date, because otherwise it's easy for the other person to be like, it didn't matter, I guess.
Yeah. And it's also okay, like say if it's something that is like in person, over the phone, even a text message, email, anything of the sort, if you feel like you need a moment to stand back, otherwise you're going to blow, take that time. Yeah. I mean, words are hard. You can't take them back once they leave your mouth. And take that time and pause. Tell whoever's on the phone, I'm sorry I can't talk right now. We have to talk about it at a later time. Or email. I got your email. Let me look it over tonight. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Text message. Hey, I received what you said. Let me sleep on it. I'm taking it in. And can we talk tomorrow? What would a good time be for you?
Yeah, because sometimes it is high heated moments, right? And you kind of know like what you're going to say is not going to be coming from the principle of love, but you also maybe know the situation you're in where that you can't stop it. So it's, I gotta go, or I'm going to make it worse. I gotta go. I'll call you later, because sometimes you can't come from the principle of love, and then you're going to regret the things you say. So you need to take that time and come back in with a loving mind.
Yeah. And I think that, like even of us talking about this, like I have a really healthy relationship with my wife, so we talk about anything and everything, and we can still get things twisted sometimes, so it's like, I'm thinking she's saying something else and then here, but we always come back and I'll be like, hey, when you said this, is this how you mean it? Because this is what I heard you say. And there's times she's like, no, I didn't mean it that way. Here's where I was at when I said that, and this is what I meant. Mm-hmm. So if I'm confused, instead of me like swelling up over here going like, did she say that? And I might be unclear about it, go to your partner and ask them, like, did I get this right? Is this what you mean? Is this what you said? And convey, like, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And your responses should be, kind of like go back to some sort of juvenile state.
Yeah.
I feel you hurt my feelings. What you said, that was a little harsh.
That's how we said that when we started our relationship. That wasn't nice. That hurt me. And it's just carried on all the way through.
Yeah. And there's sometimes, like I used to be like, back in the day, I was totally sarcastic until I learned, Lynn, that sarcasm's a form of abuse, right? So I didn't want to be abusive, so my sarcasm left. And I used to think I was really funny. Sharp tongue, my wit about me, and actually when it all laid out to me, I found out that I belittled people a lot by my sarcasm. And so I had to put an end to that. But there's still, every once in a while, right, something flies out and Shelby will be like, ouch.
Ouch, yeah.
And as soon as she says a word like ouch or you hurt me, like immediately it's like, what did I say? Like she doesn't go, you're this, we don't have these kind of conversations because it's very clear. At the moment that I've hurt her, I want to think about what I said, and then I can come back and be like, yeah, you're right, that wasn't funny.
And vice versa. It goes both ways.
And vice versa, because she does it too.
Yeah, and we're all human.
Yeah.
But a simple ouch opens the door to be like, wow, that totally wasn't loving, and I could have worded that different, and I'm sorry.
Said something a little bit different. And with friends, it's a little hard, because like our relationship, like we could be totally vulnerable. And some, friendships, you can't be so vulnerable because the moment you're like vulnerable and you say ouch, they're just like attack mode. Yeah. Now it's their moment to be able to just strike you down, so think about what you draw around your life and what type of friends you have about your life, and do you have that vulnerability, that safe space to where you can communicate, ask for what you need. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, because if you can't ask for what you need or just have that safe place to talk, what do you have?
Nothing.
Maybe some good times here and there, but that's everything. To be able to sit down and be like, wow, this is how I feel, and to be heard, and then also have that full communication in a loving way, that's everything right there.
Yeah. And you could tell somebody's skill set in communication. I grew up with a very narcissistic mother, so I remember being younger, and if I asked for anything, if I said anything about my needs or how I felt in the smallest way, I was about to be annihilated. So if I said, hey, what you said hurt my feelings or whatever, the wrath of my mother coming at me, she would point out every single thing I did wrong, what she thought of me, and she wouldn't really address just the simple fact of what I needed. It would be like all of a sudden all these fingers turning around pointing about everything that she thinks that I have lacking in, or I'm not good enough. And so be aware of those narcissistic ones, because they'll get you. So don't participate with it, don't even acknowledge it, just let it go. But yeah, or my mom, infamous, let's make it all about me. Like I could be like, I'm hurt, and by the time over, it's like I just hurt her feelings, questioning her on this. Yeah, it was just like, oh my God, all I said is I was hurt, and yeah, I didn't even matter. She was self-centered, selfish, and that's how it was going to be.
Empath, narcissist.
Empath, yeah. I just read a really good book called The Empath and the Narcissist, and
that is Shri and her mom.
Yeah. And what a great, great book. It was amazing. Yeah, I do recommend it. Who is the author in that?
I can't remember that one. I know there's a few books that we've been reading. We've really been enjoying the audibles. Carolyn Miss is one of them that, I think it's Miss, that we've really been enjoying.
Carolyn Miss is absolutely amazing. Let me see if I can pull this one up.
I haven't finished.
By Ronan Wilson, Empath and the Narcissist. It was great. But we've been reading a lot of books lately.
But you learned a lot about not just narcissists, but a lot of behavior in that book. I haven't finished it yet, but a lot of different behavior and
and everybody here is on their journey. Everybody has to evolve to something else and learn somewhere else. So, it would be really nice if we were all on the same path, going through the same things at the same time, but that's just not how it is. There's so many things that I've worked through, in this last 6 years, actually in this last 14 years, almost 15 years. I've done a lot of self-reflection, and I've made a lot of mistakes that I had to learn through,
Because you're human.
Yeah. And you know what? The learning doesn't ever end.
That's it. I feel like we learn something and then it's like, what are we going through? And it's something else to learn. But that's growth.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to grow, right? We want to continue to learn things.
And you guys, my wife here, Shelby, is probably one of the most loving human beings I have ever experienced in my life. She, you're so kind, babe. She just, it's nice, she's just always is thinking the best in people, always, But so do I too. I always try to look at, everybody's best qualities. That's what I see first.
I think I'm a sensitive one. And so I think it's kind of like when you're a kid, be nice to people, they'll be nice to you, and so that still is kind of always there. I always try to come from a loving manner, but of course, like as always, we're human and things happen, but I try real hard.
Yeah, I have a little bit more fight in me.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. She's probably the more mature one out of both of us. You know, I still have those like ridiculous tantrums, you know, sometimes if I'm not getting my way, you know, but
that's all right. We're growing, we're learning,
we're
right?
growing and we're learning. So I don't know what we're going to be bringing you next time around. What are we going to focus on next? Principle of Love had to be #1 podcast all the way. You guys,
that's where you always want to come from first is love.
Yeah. And love, if you're operating out of the principle of love, that vibration manifests and brings so much to you all the time, you know, and it brings you more peace of mind, obviously.
Yeah, you're loving others and trying your best, and you're going to be receiving that love.
Yeah. Trying to go to bed with a head full of justified anger is really hard to sleep.
Send love to everyone and then go to bed, and you're just, it's the best.
It is. Well, thank you for stopping in. We're going to get more podcasts out to you guys. We're going to start doing this on a regular basis. We're very grateful for you guys listening. I hope you guys got something out of this. And obviously, comment, let us know any subjects that you want us to talk on, because it'll be a good time, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely leave comments, and we'll definitely take that in consideration. I think it'd be a good time.
All right, you guys. Thank you for joining us for our first podcast.
Bye.
Bye.